As our marriage crumbled, I watched the woman I loved transform into a stranger. The aftermath of the confrontation was a landscape of emotional ruin. This chapter delves into the heart-wrenching aftermath, the pain of a love lost, and the harsh reality of a relationship destroyed by betrayal. It's a poignant reflection on loss, regret, and the irreversible damage caused by infidelity. Chapter 5. A Marriage in Ruins. The Cheating Wife's Downfall. The days following the confrontation were a blur. I moved through them like a ghost, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. The house, once filled with laughter and love, now felt like a tomb, silent and cold. I couldn't stay there, surrounded by memories of a life that no longer existed. So I packed a bag and left, seeking solace in the anonymity of a small hotel in the city. As I sat in that nondescript hotel room, the reality of my situation began to sink in. My marriage, the cornerstone of my life for the past 15 years, was in ruins. The woman I had loved and trusted had betrayed me in the most painful way possible, and Alex, my best friend, had been her accomplice in deceit. The sense of betrayal was overwhelming, a constant ache in my heart. I tried to distract myself, to focus on work, on anything that would take my mind off Clara and Alex. But it was no use. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of them, of the life we had shared. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of grief and anger. Days turned into weeks, and still I couldn't shake the feeling of loss. I missed Clara, despite everything. I missed the way she laughed, the way she'd curl up next to me on the sofa, the way she'd look at me with love in her eyes. But those memories were tainted now, poisoned by her betrayal. I thought about confronting her again, demanding answers. But what was the point? It wouldn't change what had happened. It wouldn't heal the wound that was now a permanent part of me. And then, one day, I received a call. It was Clara. Her voice was hesitant, broken. "Jonathan, can we talk? Please. I need to see you." I hesitated, torn between the desire to see her and the fear of reopening old wounds. But in the end, curiosity won out. I agreed to meet her at a cafe in town, a neutral ground where we could talk without the ghosts of our past looming over us. I arrived early, my stomach in knots. I hadn't seen Clara since the night of the confrontation. I didn't know what to expect, how I would feel seeing her again. She arrived, looking pale and drawn. The vibrant woman I had known was gone, replaced by a shadow of her former self. She sat down across from me, her eyes avoiding mine. "Jonathan, I... I don't even know where to start," she began, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I never meant to hurt you." I listened, my heart heavy. Her words were a balm, but they couldn't erase the pain, the betrayal. "Why, Clara? Why did you do it?" I asked, needing to hear the answer from her lips. She looked at me then, her eyes filled with tears. "I was lonely, Jonathan. You were always working, always busy. And Alex, he was there. He listened to me, made me feel wanted. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. I regret it every day." I wanted to be angry, to lash out at her for her excuses. But as I looked at her, I realized that anger wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't bring back the life we had lost. "Clara, I loved you. I trusted you. And you broke that trust in the worst possible way. I don't know if I can ever forgive you for that." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know, and I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know how sorry I am." We sat in silence for a long time, the weight of our broken marriage between us. And then, slowly, we began to talk. Not about the affair, but about the good times, the happy memories. It was like a farewell to the life we had shared, a final goodbye to what had once been. When we parted that day, it was with a sense of closure, of finality. I knew that our marriage was over, that there was no going back. But I also knew that I needed to move on, to find a way to heal and rebuild my life. As I walked away from the cafe, I felt a sense of peace, a sense of acceptance. The pain was still there, a dull ache in my heart, but it was no longer all-consuming. I was ready to start over, to find a new path. And so I returned to the hotel, packed my bag, and checked out. It was time to leave the past behind and step into the future, whatever it might hold.